Hey, what's up, everybody in here, out there, everywhere? Welcome to the Kentucky Atheist Grateful to Know God's broadcast. Today, my guest is Dave from the Captive Desk. Dave has a wonderful channel that is growing very quickly. He does the Saturday Night at the Atheist show, and it's a blast. We have great conversations. Dave is also a cryptid enthusiast and knows a whole lot about cryptids and stuff on his second channel, the Grassman Chronicles. So welcome, Dave. What's up, man?
Hello, Joe. Hello, everybody. Yeah, I was just telling Joe. Looks like my TV went out on me. So the TV demons were not too happy with me today, I guess. So looks like gonna get a new TV.
Look what God did to me.
but otherwise, yeah, I shouldn't have made this AI. I got a lightning bolt right through my TV.
Yeah.
It has been playing for quite a few years now, though, so I can't even remember how long it's been. So it's been a while that it's been on the wall there. So
I think every time I go to do something, I have some kind of electronics problem, or the internet goes out, or some silly shit happens that makes it tough to do what I try to do here. I want to say hi to Al Trucker and Spooky Bed Hair, and I don't know if PC's back in here yet, but thank you for posting all that stuff, PC. I really appreciate it. We've kind of changed the format and stuff a little bit here. Things will look a little bit different and everything like that. This Grateful to Know God's broadcast will eventually be available everywhere that you can listen to podcasts. We're streaming live on YouTube, Twitch, and X all at the same time. And, it's an attempt to get out there and build a community of like-minded people that want to have discussions about difficult things. Before we get too far into it, though, and I always forget to do this, I need to update this banner, but I do want to say thank you to all of my channel members. I really appreciate you guys helping out and making this possible. I try to do members content every week. We just did a members show Friday that was a lot of fun and stuff. It's usually an open panel where everybody can come in and just talk about whatever. And memberships start at 99 cents. So if you're interested in more of this beautiful face, just click that join button down there, and we'll have some more fun. Also, I want to say thank you to my Patreon members, Greg, Robin, Gwen, Ray, Regios, Dave, and Narrative Dude. Thank you guys so much. I'm working on the first recording of what will eventually be a book about my life and experiences as it applies to addiction, recovery, atheism, and that whole journey, which some people have found interesting and asked for more about. So I think that maybe it's worthwhile doing. Maybe not. But my Patreon supporters, that content will be exclusively available over there if you want to listen to it. If you don't, that's fine. And whenever I eventually make this in some kind of book and get it all organized and stuff, I'll probably give a free copy to my Patreon supporters for standing with me through it. All that's in the works, though, so subject to some kind of change, but that's the plan anyway. But thank you to everyone that supports the show. Now that I'm done shilling for myself, we can get back into it. Dave, so Saturday Night at the Atheist, tell me, what's it about?
Well, originally, Mike used to do the show Saturday Night at the Atheist, and we had done a show together back like in April, I think, or something, and we were trying to get it going. And I said, well, look, Mike, how about if I just host it, and then, you can just join in, right? And because Mike, has got a lot of other stuff going on too.
Yeah.
And so, we kicked it off about 5-6 weeks ago now. And as far as the arguments go, there's not a lot of new arguments. There may be a little twist on it here and there. But yeah, it's the same old arguments. So what we're trying to do is just get together, have a panel, and have a few laughs, be lighthearted about it. Invite the people on we're reviewing to come on. Maybe we've had a little interaction. Last night we talked about one of the comments back and forth with one of the videos we reviewed, and then he did a video about it. So we looked at it last night, and my idea is that we're looking at smaller channels and trying to get people to kind of say things for themselves, right?
Well, I think what you're doing is really cool, Dave, because like I joined last night, and I join, often. I'm there at least through part of it. Sometimes it goes a little long, but
it goes fast too. Let me tell you, a couple hours can go by real fast.
It does, because we have fun just kind of bouncing off of each other and talking about different things. Sometimes we disagree.
Sometimes we disagree. That's the important thing.
Yeah.
That we don't always agree on things, and that's okay.
Yeah. I think that something that's really cool about it is it's open for anybody to come and join and take part in the conversation. And for people who are new to this or just getting started, wanting to use their voice to speak out about things, like, it's an excellent exercise in that. I find that even like when I was on last night, I was able to like refine some of my responses to those arguments and stuff when they come up. And it's it's really helpful, even if you're just trying to get started or whatever, or if you're established and have a huge channel. It's it's fun to come and respond to some of the things that these channels say. And they may be smaller channels, but like it's mainstream Christianity. They're not the only person that holds these beliefs. So it's important to counter those bad ideas with good ideas. But I think it's excellent exercise in how to talk about these subjects with people and be on a panel and do all those things.
More on a regular folks level, right?
Yeah. We just have fun.
I appreciate, the experts and the philosophers that do their in-depth dissection arguments and stuff. But to be honest, a lot of times everyday folks really don't understand a lot of the terminology they're using and everything, So yeah, we try to, just sit around and chit chat like, you would hanging around the club or something, right? And just chatting. So you get more of a, everyday Joe, present company accepted, we can actually understand what each other's saying. And if we don't, we have plenty of time where we can say, look, I don't know what that word means. I don't know what that term means. I don't know what that argument is. And we can sit around and talk about it and explain it. And everybody kind of is, comes away with a little better understanding, I hope, because, again, the arguments aren't I haven't heard a new argument in a long time. So, you're going to hear the same arguments. So, especially in the bigger channels, it's more word for word. You know what I mean? They're sticking to their, they got to watch every word they say, right? Whereas some of these guys like Mr. Peace we were watching last night, he lets it slip, that he likes rock music and all these different things. He even likes some atheist comedians, right? He was talking about Ricky Gervais and whatnot. And so some of those things is kind of the regular thing coming through that you don't really get when you're up on the debate stage, so to speak.
He also, I think unintentionally, and I'm not a psychologist, but I did have some psychology classes and stuff, so certain things catch my attention when I hear them. And
you did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night.
yeah. But he kind of let it sneak in there some of the things that influence his positions, his political views, mostly that. But he if he would have left that out, I may have taken him more seriously. But once, he started lumping together atheists and never Trumpers and all that stuff, it was like, yeah, okay. And he almost went down the Bigot Road, and he kind of stopped and came to a screeching stop, and then turned left real quick and well, turned right in his case, but didn't go down that road. And I'm glad, because I can't stand that stuff. Like, I don't care to talk to people or respond to something, but whenever they start getting into that stuff, it's like, all right, this is just disgusting at this point. I mean, like, we can have conversations about stuff without doing all that, like
there's about 6 verses in the Bible that they suggest are about LGBTQ folks and whatnot. And, but a lot of other people that have studied it says that's not really what those verses are even about.
Right.
And even if so, the idea is everybody's a sinner, right?
Yeah.
So
they
for
also
anybody,
say the Bible contains science, but that's not true.
But for them to point fingers at anybody else is the epitome of hypocrisy, right? Because the whole idea is everyone's a sinner. You're supposed to be pointing at yourself. The speck in your eye, the speck in your neighbor's eye when you have a plank in your own, right? Yeah. So, either way, it's very bothersome, because there's a lot of other things you could talk about in the Bible too.
Right.
Hey, what fabrics are you wearing? Did you trim your beard the right way? So
yeah. Even the biblical literalists don't really follow the Bible literally. It's always a cherry picking expedition to what fits the God that they have defined into existence, in my opinion, anyway.
But what we need to do is, like you were saying, and with the direction you want to take your show and your podcast and everything, is, we can agree to disagree. Okay. We don't need to, have conflicts and all the hatred and bigotry and all the other things that go on and everything, right? Everybody has their own thing. Everybody likes different things, and the diversity and that's what makes everything great, right? Like the flowers in the background, right? If all the flowers were the same, it would take away from the beauty of them, right? They're beautiful because they're all different, right?
And that's an important point about the show that you do Saturdays at 5, because it's atheists responding to it, but the audience is mostly atheist also. I mean, everyone's welcome, of course, but like, we're not responding to it in a way that we're trying to show you our wonderful arguments and stuff. We're just getting together and building community and having fun looking at a video. And I think that that's really important. And I think that there's a big need for that in the atheist community. And not to say that there aren't channels out there that do some of that, but very few. And most atheist channels are concerned with making arguments and debates and that stuff. And that's fine, because I'm sure most of us can relate that when we first came into the atheist community, or discovered that there was this whole movement on YouTube or whatever, that the debates and things are usually where you start at. And like, you're hearing the arguments and you're like, hey, yeah, that's right. Like, and it's very informative, and you learn a lot of your stuff there. And it's great. And you even build community there. Sometimes the chat's a little too fast to even talk to somebody, but you start to get to know who people are and hear what people are talking about and things. And I think that's really valuable. But the atheist community has continued to grow over the decades now. And as it's done that, I mean, it's continued to grow for a long, long time, but on YouTube anyway. And I think now you have a whole community of atheists who have heard all these arguments that don't change. It's the same argument, just different people making it. And we have this need for content that's more community building and normalizing and getting to know each other and talk about things that we deal with rather than just the arguments of Christians. Like, I personally, like, I don't mind to sit down and have talks with Christians on whatever subject they want to talk about. I'm not really into debates. I'll do it if necessary, but if I'm going to debate, I'd rather do a political debate, honestly. But yeah, I would. If I'm going to debate, I'd rather do that.
Go ahead first.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like there's the atheist community that has kind of grown past that, and getting together and talking with each other about the things we do for atheists, and being able to identify some of the things that are going on in the world that affect the atheist community, which does have that tie into politics, which is why I said that. But it's almost like you get that initial education and stuff from the debates and the arguments and the yelling at people and all that stuff, and then you move on to, like, okay, now let's talk amongst ourselves and learn things, and it's like the next step in that. And I think it's a necessary thing that we need more of. The atheist community needs more of a lot of things. We do have some representation of people of color and women and all that to do things too, but it's a lot of white dudes talking about stuff pretty often. And so I'm excited to see our community continue to grow and diversify.
And I also like, having a panel on, because a lot of videos you watch, or even a debate, it's basically just the one person, maybe two, but you're going to have, opposite sides. And, we get people on, Mike's older than I am, you're younger than I am. Simos often joins us, and Brainless, and they're in other countries across the pond. And, you get a little diversity going there too, of different cultural ideas and everything. And what's interesting, what you said, like about Mr. Peace throwing some political commentary out there, he's in Canada, but he's closely following what's going on here. So I did find that interesting, that they are Trump interested. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's a Canadian Trump supporter. So that was interesting, that, they're watching the election too. Yeah. Yeah. Well,
it's really cool though to do it that way, because I mean, there is a time for like serious conversations about stuff, and then I feel like there are people that we should be laughing at and mocking. And
the idea with this, though, we're trying to, not make it personal. We make it personal when we go against Ken Ham and stuff.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I meant. I didn't mean like, yeah. I didn't mean everybody.
Like I said, especially with the other channels, that those smaller channels, like I said, it's like, hey, it's all good, we make a response, you can make a response back, everybody wins, right? You get views out of it. If you want to come on and talk, you can, a lot of us do, we offer, hey, you can share it on your channel too, right?
So
everybody wins. And with these folks, the one, I don't remember his name, but he did come in the chat. But he was all, I don't have time to debate. I don't want to debate. And it's like, we're not looking for a debate. We just said, if you want to come on and talk, you can come on and talk, right? So hopefully tone down the animosity a little bit, right? That, whoa, just it's cool. If, you want to come on and talk about your garden or something, come on. We want to hear about it, right? We'll be friendly. And as far as repeating Bible verses, a lot of us just don't want to hear the Bible verses anymore. We want to hear what you have to say. So that's
Right.
kind of what I'm looking for in these smaller channels is, he repeats some Bible verses, but he also says a lot of what he has to say. So that's what I'm looking for.
Right. I mean, you have the apologist channels that are like, they want to make philosophical arguments most of the time now, which are silly. They want to make fine-tuning arguments for Noah's flood, and all that stuff. And the apologists, they make their arguments, but they don't really talk about what they personally believe, other than, I think the Bible's true, And so it's good whenever you can have a conversation or find content where the person is talking about what they actually believe, rather than just arguing about something. And I think that's,
and they're not easy to find either.
Yeah.
One thing, looking around, it's a whole lot easier. You can tell how YouTube works the algorithm and everything, because you have to sift through all the big channels and all the big names first, and keep looking and refining your search before you can even find the smaller channels. So hopefully it'll also, again, that we can help each other out, right? So.
Yeah, for sure. And that's kind of been something that I've been looking at. Like, my channel isn't huge. It's I'm sitting at like 1,220 some subscribers, 1,223, 1,224, something like that. But for other people in the community that I've built, that have channels and stuff, I don't want to say I've built, because it was already here. The community that I joined and joined me. For that community though, whenever I see somebody who's trying to make good content and stuff, I'm all about trying to promote that and help them in any way I can. I mean, again, I don't have a huge channel and we have much of the same audience, but if I can help put it in front of somebody else's eyes by sharing it on my social media or something like that, then I want to do that to try and help, because we need as many voices and perspectives as we can talking about these issues, to let people know there is a like-minded community of folks that are interested in having meaningful conversations.
And Joe does that too. Joe posts my stuff around and everything. It's much appreciated. And, we got a lot of other folks that help. Crystal's always out there posting links and everything. We always appreciate Crystal, and, a lot of the moderators, that help out and everything. So that's all appreciated too.
And while I may be the beautiful face of the Kentucky Atheist channel,
that's right.
It's not just me. It's a we thing, very much. There's a whole lot of people that help to help me make my show as good as I can. My moderators, I love my moderators. PC is head moderator and does a whole lot. But there's others. Let's Farm and even Totten pops in and helps me out every now and then with stuff. My moderators, I have to give a big shout out to them, because if it wasn't for them, I would be dealing with the chat the whole time. And if you go back and watch my earlier videos, it's a lot of me arguing with the chat. But I've learned to trust my moderators, that they'll handle any problems that come up there, and I can do the show and focus on the guest and the content. Jess does all the artwork and intros, and that beautiful intro you've seen at the beginning of the show. Jess made that and did a fantastic job. In fact, I may play that again now that everybody's here, just to let everybody see what a great job she did. But it's very much a we thing. I mean, Robin hosts a show with me and gives me info. Al was just sending me stuff on Discord. It's very much a community project. The Kentucky Atheist, the word "the" is kind of a misnomer, I guess. But let me play that intro Jess made real quick. Do you mind, Dave?
No, I liked it. We'll jam again. Put it on.
Yeah. Here, we'll do both the little song at first, the loading screen, and the intro. Here we go, guys. That thing's so cool. Jess did such a great
I
job.
like the eyeball part near the end there. That's pretty cool too.
I like the part where the explosion happens and the music hits right as the explosion happens, and then it goes into that. I love that. But Jess did just a phenomenal job, and it's kind of crazy because the sometimes the artwork and the intros outperform the content. But you know, but we have fun here, right? I mean, it's not about that. So
well, that's the thing on my description on my channel. Opinions from a skeptic, discussions with a skeptic, a little science, and a bit of humor. Right? I'm always. Sometimes you might miss it in my videos, but I almost every one of my videos, unless it's a serious topic,
yeah.
I try to at least slip something in there. A Bigfoot popping in, just something, just just to add that little, oh, I saw that, Dave, so.
Yeah. And you and I have worked on a number of things together. I've been on your channel a number of times. You've been on my channel a number of times. We've talked about AIG and Kent, and we've talked about the Mothman. You and I have worked together on a lot of things. You came on one of my first, I think my very first live stream actually. Yeah, and I'm always glad to get to do things with other people in the community, because again, like it takes all these different perspectives. It takes the whole community together, and I think that us. The funny thing is because the apologists, attack atheists, and we have no morality, and we don't blah 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 blah, all that nonsense, and but then you look at the atheist community itself, and it seems to be made up of a lot of caring people who are willing to help each other in whatever way possible for and not ask anything for it. Just hey, yeah, sure, I'd love to help you. And it's and that's actually how I got started. Ember helped me in the beginning, referred me to StreamYard and told me a little bit about streaming and all that stuff, and how to do certain things. Ember's helped a number of times. So it's great that we do that, because it flies right in the face that the straw man that the apologists try to build of us.
Yeah, I like showing it, especially when some of the straw men were being said in the video we're reviewing, and immediately the whole panel just lights up and says, "Hold it, no, no, no!" Right, and every one of us had a different answer. It's like, no, I was this, I was that, I was a believer, I wasn't a believer. Yeah, it's so diverse, and yeah, the straw men come out a lot, and I think we talked about it before that, some of us are even hesitant about using the word atheist, because as soon as you say atheist, oh, you repeat Richard Dawkins or Hitchens or whatever, and it's like, yeah, so it's like, we can have our own thoughts, and some of us predate the internet. Some of us didn't know who any of these people were when we became non-believers. So
yeah,
it gets a little tiresome hearing it, and this is an opportunity where here you go. You want to know about atheists? A lot of these content people we've been covering. Oh, I wanted to talk to atheists. I wanted to have these discussions. I like engaging with atheists and everything. So it's like, well, here you go. And we're sitting there saying, nope. And for diverse reasons, we disagree. And come on and explain, why all of us can have all these different things and come to the same conclusion. It seems that atheists can think for themselves without having a book or dogma or anything else, or peer pressure or anything else like that. You can just be a non-believer all on your own. All on your own.
Yeah. Jester says, before I was an atheist, I was nothing but a joke.
Jester stopped by too.
Yeah. Jester came on and hung out with us, and Jester and I talked for a while afterwards. But yeah, there are all those different ways of looking at it, and I find that a lot of times, like when I first started doing this, it was like, okay, these are the things that I in conversation. This is how I'm going to address these things and stuff. And along the way, I learned just be me and just answer it honestly how I feel about it. It doesn't matter. And I find that a lot of my perspective is different from the herd sometimes, and that's okay. Like I'm perfectly willing to admit that I could be wrong about any number of things. I don't pretend to be an expert. I don't pretend to be some great intellectual. I just tell you, what I think, and sometimes if the topic requires, some kind of scientific view or something, I'll tell you about the stuff that I've looked at and my understanding of it. But I don't pretend to be something I'm not, um, which is
And we couldn't have had different, more different,
we
uh,
couldn't had a more diverse
a more
group.
diverse, history, because our histories are,
Yeah.
not a lot in similar, other than we were once young and grew up. And yeah, well, here we are having a discussion about similar things. Um, the, the idea that people shouldn't talk about religion and politics, I think, has been a big problem, because people do not know how to talk about religion and politics. Because as soon as you start talking about them, all the emotions flood in, and a lot of times it just becomes a dumpster fire. There's no discussion or anything. And I think the problem is because we've been told for so long you don't talk about these things, and then we just don't know how to talk about them. So I think
I
we
want
need to talk more and tone everything down, and I mean globally, right? I think we're at the age where let's stop being barbaric and let's sit down and talk and work these things out and use the old noodle for a change, right? That would be nice.
yeah. Um I want to hold on. I want to look at a message that's here in the chat, and it's two messages. Let me read through it, and then I want to talk about this with you. Um, Jeremiah says, I was told earlier today that I was doing harm, praying for inmates for doing jail ministry. I was only curious if this was common position among atheists. I'm an ex-addict, and most in my local jail, hold on, are there for drug offenses. I don't only go to preach to them, I go to tell them how I escaped addiction, and it wasn't only God. Um, and the question buried in there was, uh, is I was curious if this is a common position among atheists. I'll let you go first, Dave.
I support religious organizations helping people.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with it. AA and things like these are religiously based. If it helps somebody, that's great.
Yeah.
We can always discuss religion, but a lot of folks, especially if they got no one else and nowhere else to go, if a religious organization helps them out, I'm all for it. I I don't have a problem with anybody or any organization helping people out.
I think that uh, for you, Jeremiah, you have a belief, and you believe that thing is true, and that you are helping by going in and doing that. I think that no matter how you share your story of escaping addiction with others that are dealing with that, no matter what that story is or how you go about sharing it, I think that there is value to that, because drug addicts need to see other people who have been down that road and made it away from it. The I will say though, as far as religion in jails, I have a lot of experience with that, being locked up and having preachers come in the cells, and being taken to church down the hallway in the law library and locked in the room, and all that stuff. But like, you've got a group of people who are vulnerable. They've had everything stripped away from them. They've been taken out of society, and they have very little environment around them other than other inmates and stuff. There's very little to entertain them and stuff. So I think that whenever you preach religion to that group of folks, that they're more likely to be looking for something to reach out and grab a hold of that they can follow and embrace and give them hope and things. And you know, I have mixed feelings about it because of that, but I don't think I would say that what you're doing is necessarily wrong, because you believe it's helping people and you're trying to help people. And that attitude is something that we need more of in this country, and in this world for that matter, among people in general. And so I commend you on trying to help people. You know, I think that maybe stick more to the talking about your ordeal with addiction and less to the religion would be the more helpful thing for those people. That would be really the only thing I would say about it, because I don't think you're intentionally trying to take advantage of vulnerable people. I think you're trying to help. But some of that, you know, my question back would be, what kind of people are you trying to attract? Are you trying just to get anybody to say that they believe in your religion to grow numbers? And you know, what is the reason for proselytizing to those people? Like, and if you're just looking for people who say they, you know, do it and don't really, then I mean, what really is the point? Like, if you're trying to build like meaningful relationships and help people get off drugs and things like that, God only complicates that, in my opinion. And so it's kind of like these two things are like, the religion part is a detriment to the recovery part, in my opinion. But you know, I'm glad that you're trying to help people, so I'm not gonna be too hard on you about it. And thank you for talking to drug addicts, because I think that I think that that's needed. Those people have made some bad choices, or been in some bad situations and stuff, and they can't begin to be an asset to society and the human race in general until they can get away from that. So anything that helps them and, you know, get off drugs and shows them that there's a different way, I'm okay with that. Sorry, a lot of rambling there.
As long as there's no sleight of hand. I mean, if you have good intents, that's fine.
Yeah.
What I have an issue with is some of us have been covering this Vody guy, and he just says it straight out that he thinks they should get away with not doing nice things because they do nice things. Right? Well, look, we have an addiction treatment center, so you should ignore that we're trying to take rights away from women. You know, and it's like, no, you're not going to get a pass on that. I'll give you credit for the good you do, but that doesn't mean you do not get called out on something bad you're doing at the same time.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's a you know, anytime
if you have good motives, go. You know, I'm a realist. In this world, there's a lot of religions, and there's a lot of people that are trying to spread their religions. And if you're in another country, you might run into a priestess or something that comes up to you and wants you to be their religion or something. That's understandable. But how much are you doing it, right? Are you forcing it on somebody? Are you forcing it on somebody's kids? Or are you just saying, hi, are you interested in my religion? And I say, oh, no, thank you. And you say, okay, thank you. Have a nice day. Then, you know, there's a big difference.
Yeah. Yeah. One of those doesn't come along very often, does it?
Right.
And you know, though, there is this idea that somehow, and I think it's also because of the debates and the arguments, and that seems to be For somebody on the outside looking in, that's what the atheist community is we're just arguing and fighting about this thing, and that's
We
why
worship skulls and
well, yeah, all that too, but
and Grim
that's
Reaper
why
statues and
yeah, that's why I try to get past some of that, though, because I feel like that there's we're not the enemy to religion. That's not the idea. Like, if you come to me,
just because I got a really cool skull here, it doesn't mean I worship them. Okay.
Yeah. if you come to me, misrepresenting science or just saying things that you can't support with anything, like, I'm going to point that out. But I'm not the enemy to religion. It's the people like Ken Hovind and Kent Ham that are destroying religion. It's their absurd claims that are causing people to go and look into things, and when they do, find all the information out there that shows that these things aren't true. And we talked a little bit about this last night, and it's something that I've been kind of working on. But what do you think about that statement anyway?
They're their own worst enemies. I point out all the time, Ken Ham blames atheists for everything that he's doing. The top reasons that people leave the faith are things like anti-science, hellfire, against any group of people, all those top things that say, why did you leave the religion, are usually the things that Ken Ham is the biggest promoter of. And then he says, hey, look what atheists are doing. And it's like, the atheists you're making, right? They're walking out on you. They're the ones that are having empty pews in a country that at one time didn't have any such thing. The pews were all full. Yeah. So they have only to blame themselves. And to the other side, though, there are some that are very moderate. They're very welcoming. They have rainbow flags outside. They invite everybody in. Everybody's welcome. And to me, that's what I always thought church is supposed to be. Yeah. The idea that you can't come into God's house. Again, that really bothers me. It's like, well, now, wait a minute, right? How are you deciding who gets to come in God's house, right? It's just... So if you're a great person, you're welcoming, you're doing all these good things, your church is welcoming, you're not a mega church just in it for the money. Any money you take in pays the light bill, the rest goes to charity, right? There's no problem with a church like that. And I don't think anybody would, and it goes for any other religion too, whatever temple, mosque, or anything else. We've said many times, if you keep it to yourself, it's like anything else. Nobody has an issue, right?
Yeah. The Jeremiah said, honestly, I knew the other atheists I talked to didn't approve of it, but they essentially called me a predator. I don't think it's good for my own mental health to hang out with someone who considers me a predator. Let me tell you something, Jeremiah. So there is a lot of nuance to that conversation, and I think that actually, if you sat down with atheists who are willing to engage in conversation and talked a bit about that, you could still choose to do that, because there is the talking to drug addicts about your recovery is the most important thing in my view. So of course I'm going to say focus on that, because that's really helping people. I don't think the Christian part of it is, but I mean, if you want to throw that in there, that's your belief, so I wouldn't call you a predator unless you're acting in a predatory way. So that's why there's kind of some nuance to that. Blaster Master said, yeah, like Kent Hovind, create more non-believers than actual Christians.
Well, it's glass houses, right? I mean, you can't say things about, well, you atheists are doing this and that. And it's like, well, at the same time, all the things that are going on in the churches, the mega churches, churches getting involved in politics when they're not supposed to be doing that to get their tax breaks. You got to clean your own house, right? Definitely. Same thing with any other group. When people say things about bad teachers, that's not all teachers. There's great teachers out there, But you have to clean your own house, and the police and judicial system on down the line, medical community. They ignored what that one doctor was doing for how long at that hospital. Yeah, you have to clean your own house. So, whataboutism isn't going to do it either.
Michael N. wrote in and said, my family left due to a hard look at the evidence. If my parents had stayed in the church, their rampant mistreatment of certain groups, like the LGBTQ plus community, would make me walk away. And yeah, that's exactly what we're saying, right?
It does. It does.
If it wasn't, it's not the atheists doing it. The church itself promotes, not all, and again, it's not all, and I'm not attacking believers. It's the idea and the belief that allows for these things. I see myself doing this. The hate and the bigotry and the denying all of science for creationism and that kind of stuff. People see that, and it's an extreme position, and they're like, oh, I want to go look at this. I have the internet at the tips of my fingers. Let's go look this up. And that's why it's great that we have people talking about it, because that way we're saying, hey, yeah, this is bullshit. And then, they go and find facts and stuff. If I was having that conversation, I would bring sources and stuff for people to go do it. But I will say this, if you or someone is struggling with these issues due to religion, contact RFR. They are a wonderful group of people who talk to theists and atheists alike, who are struggling with religion or trying to get out of it. And they have people, volunteers there that are always willing to chat or take phone calls from people and help you work through that thing. They have a wonderful library of resources they can provide. RFR 100%. Let me see. I think I have let me see if my chat command for RFR works. Doesn't look like it did. There it is. RFR, there's the link in the chat for you guys. And it's also in the description of this video, so for anybody listening later. Sorry, my mouth's so dry. So I mean, and I think it's a really great thing that the atheist community is starting to kind of grow and change its view of some of these things, because we've argued about it, and it's not that we insist we're right about these things. It's that the apologists refuse to look at any kind of evidence or scientific facts or anything. It essentially breaks down to either solipsism or the nuh-uh argument, and it's like how long can we do that? And I want to say this one more time for everybody out there, atheists and theists alike. This channel and the Grateful to Know God's broadcast and my existence on YouTube, for that matter, is all centered around building a safe place, a community of like-minded people who want to engage and talk about some of these sometimes difficult topics. If you're a theist and you want to come talk to me, I'm willing to have honest conversations. I don't want to debate you. If you're coming to me and you want to make your arguments, just don't bother. If you want to discuss what you actually believe and why, and I'll talk about why I don't believe those things. I mean, there will be some inserting facts and stuff in there to have the conversation. It's the nature of it. But it's not an argument. I'm willing to talk to you about those things anytime. And that's kind of what the purpose is here. So atheists and theists alike, though, I welcome you to come have these conversations with me. And anytime, I'm open to it. I locked my computer. Can you still hear me, Dave?
Yep.
Okay. Let me get back in my computer.
And I say I'm a realist. There's a lot of religious people in the world. And we've got to live together. And it's not just non-believers, but as we were pointing out last night, there seems to be the dichotomy of you're either a Christian or you're an evil atheist. And they seem to leave out that Christianity is not a majority religion in the world. Okay.
No.
So a lot of people are not Christians and are not atheists as well. So
well, it
the
depends
argument
on
is
what
always, yeah, the argument is weak, you know, because they're just going to say, well, they just believe that religion just because they made it up or whatever, and completely discounting that's what you do too, you know.
Let me fix something you said there, though, Dave, because I don't want people to misunderstand you. Christianity is the most popular religion in the world, but most people in the world don't believe in Christianity.
Okay.
Of the religion, well, yeah. That's because but you know, for the Christians, a lot like your Southern Baptists will tell you Catholics aren't Christians, Mormons aren't Christians. So when you start doing that, they're not
every religion is a minority. How about that?
Yeah, that's true. Religion itself is a minority.
Yeah, there's more that do not follow your religion than do follow your religion.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and they always make that argument too. They're like, well, all the people have believed this, and that's why this book's been around for this long, and it has such a huge following because it's true. And it's like, okay, I think that's an ad populum argument. I'm not sure, but that doesn't mean it's true that a lot of people believe it. That's like that old argument we've all heard that the Jesus's followers were all put to death. So it must have been true. They wouldn't have been put to death over these things. And it's like, no, all they had to do was believe it was true. That doesn't make it true. They just believed it that much. If we're going to go that narrative, there's other problems with that, of course, but like, that's just a summary for the people here. Everybody here, I think, understands that situation. But
and if you believe it because you want to, because it speaks to you, because you like the way the stories and the text are, whatever the reason is, that's fine. But you can equally put that to any other religion or belief or none at all. It's not a winning argument, and I'm not denying that it makes you feel good. Like I forgot the name, but the person talking about going to the prison there,
Jeremiah.
Jeremiah. Okay. At the same time, yeah, you've got this thing inside you. You think it's God or Jesus or another God or another prophet or whatever, but I would have to ask yourself, is it really that, or are you just a good person? You know what I mean? Does trying to help people make you feel good? And if you weren't religious tomorrow, would you still be doing it, and would it still make you feel good? Then you're a good person. You're a good person.
If I could afford to do it, and I've went to schools and spoke about my getting out of addiction and recovery and all that, but like if I could get around to do it, and think, I don't even have a car now, but if I could get around to do it and stuff, like I would go speak to people all the time about getting out of addiction and stuff, and never mention my atheism, because it's even though there is a part of that that's a big that had a big influence on where I'm at now and recovery and all that. Atheism, I say this, and there's nuance to it, but I say atheism saved my life, because in a certain way it kind of did, but it was actually my view of the world that changed, that led me in a different direction. But I don't bring that up though when I have that conversation, because I know that I'm dealing with someone who is vulnerable at the time, and it's not my intention to try and fill that need for something with some other thing. The religious recovery centers, one of the things that bothers me about what they do is these people get off drugs, and the centers fill that spot with Jesus, and then they get these people to go, feel the spirit and stuff, and it gets them into religion in a way that they're then getting those endorphins and things from their practice of Christianity. And I think that's a dangerous thing to do personally. I think that um, if you're going to fill that space with something, I would suggest evidence-based care, which includes medicated assisted treatment, detox, all those things. Just going and replacing the drugs with Jesus will eventually let them down, and then they're going to be in a dangerous situation where they haven't used in a long time, and it may result in them canceling themselves. And so that I have concerns when it comes to that kind of thing, but people,
Yeah, that's a tough one. Yeah.
yeah. But your
As
recovery is yours.
anti-theism and with all the things we talk about and all the, of course I don't want you to go become religious, but at the same time I don't want things to turn worse or for you to end up 6 feet under either. I'd rather have you sober and alive. Okay.
Well,
because you can't have the religion discussion with somebody that's 6 feet under. So
sure.
There's just no, it's, that's a dead end, literally. Right.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And I agree with you. I would rather, I don't care how you get off drugs. It's the right way, like whatever causes you to stop using. But I caution people because of that stuff. And I think that if you're someone who's looking for a recovery center or looking for help, I encourage you to think about religion is going to complicate that whole thing. You're just adding something else to it. Getting off drugs is hard enough. Pleasing an all-powerful God is impossible. So I mean, like you're just building yourself up for a letdown, I think. And so
ideally, and a lot of them do. I mean, somebody asked, Jester asked, do you promote AA and that? And it's like, yes. And along with, there's a program, right? And you have your I don't know, your friend that you call, right? Your dependent buddies, whatever they call them.
We're going to disagree here, Dave.
There are things, Mike talked about when he goes to his, that it's pretty secular and everything. So I think if they are giving you credit, you know what I mean, telling you a lot that, hey, look what you've done, rather than, putting hands on you and saying it's Jesus all the time. I think that would be, an issue. But
let me say something about AA. AA is not evidence-based care. It has a book that it says has all the answers.
Sponsor, that's the word. Thank you.
Yeah, it has a book that has all the answers, it says. And I don't really like that part of it. Also, there's not a real good way to separate the religious tones from AA, even the secular ones, because one of the steps requires a higher power and all that stuff, which is not a necessary part. You can do all those things without it. So anyway, here's my thing with AA.
I agree with you. I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying it's not a perfect world, and there are these organizations, and you've lost friends. I lost my brother, and if he was calling me up and saying Jesus loves you, but he could actually call me up right now rather than being dead, I'd rather hear from him. So it's a very it's very tough when you miss somebody that that you want them still to be around. And would it be okay if he was going to church again? Is he going to church and being a good person, or is he going to church to
thing, though? That's not what bothers
it's
me.
A tough. We could talk about it for a lot. That is a tough.
I think AA is an excellent tool, but it lets you meet other people. My experiences in AA, though, was I met other people who were there ordered by court and were just trying to find ways to do drugs and have sex with the girls there. So I don't, that's my experience though. But if AA is helpful to you, I just encourage people who do AA to also enter an evidence-based care program. That would be my thing. AA is great, community and stuff like that, but I think it should be used with other things. On its own, I think AA is next to useless. It has horrible numbers. I don't think you should rely on AA. Its numbers, its success rate is in the single digits, and evidence-based care has a much higher success rate. And so AA, along with the other thing, would be great. But I wouldn't encourage someone who's on drugs to rely on AA or NA alone. That's my only thing. I don't think they're doing anything wrong. I just think it's just not designed to do it.
Well, I know with my brother, if you go looking, a lot of employers do have insurance. So if you're having an issue, especially if you're having a problem at work and they offer you the program, a lot of times it is paid for and covered under work. So my brother got into a program because of that. And yeah, it wasn't AA, it was a medical place and everything. So, if you are, and you're like, I don't know how to do it or anything else. Again, you got the internet, look these things up. There's a lot of options for people to help get you into a program and help you out.
Yeah. AA claims their success rates are 75%, and that's not true. It's a lie. If you're looking for information on that stuff, who has the actual information would be ASAM, the American Society of Addiction Medicine. That is the body that compiles all the evidence-based care stuff, and they have all the protocols and numbers and all those things there that you can see. I just again, whatever works is right. I mean, if you think that's the right thing for you, then do it. But to a person who's just entering, I wouldn't recommend it. Celebrate Recovery, yeah, I don't care much for them either. But again, to whatever works for you.
That's the bottom line. I mean, get some help, right?
And, start somewhere.
I mean, even I know my brother was in a lot of depression and he just didn't think anything mattered and everything else. But it does. I mean, I miss my brother. Friends miss him. I mean, his best buddy was so broken up at the hospital and the funeral and everything. I mean, believe it or not, there are people out there that love you and care about you, even if you don't know it. Okay.
Sure are. And we don't want you to go anywhere. I always tell people, and one thing I say on here, if you're struggling with those things, you're looking for somebody to talk to, you can even get a hold of me, and in private, I'll even give you my personal phone number. You can call me and I'll talk to you. If you're struggling with those things though, I do encourage you to get help, but you have to want to do that. It can't be, I can't make you do it. The court can't make you do it. It has to be your choice. And in that aspect, AA gets a few things right. You do have to be kind of at that rock bottom place. You do have to admit that you're powerless over your addiction and that you need help. Those things are necessary, and AA has added to recovery with some of its content. I just think the program as a whole is ineffective. That's all.
And what's your intent? Is your intent to help people or to win converts, right? Yeah. I mean, if the true intent is to help people, no matter if they come to your church or not ever again, then again, these are good people. If they're doing it just because they want converts, then are you really worried about these people, or you just want to fill seats in your church, right? It's a tough one. And I agree with you, Joe, and I'll disagree, and back and forth. But the bottom line is, in this, especially this country we live in, a lot of this, the system has just been set up by these religious organizations. So, but I
wouldn't
agree,
ever.
some reform would be great.
Yeah,
That's always great, right?
yeah. I think if AA would kind of change. I mean, it's been saying the same chants and stuff for what 60, 70 years, oh, longer than that, for a long time. The same cult like chants and all that stuff. If they would adapt their program and embrace some of the things that evidence based care offers, I think that AA could be really useful to a lot of people. But I would never tell anyone that's going looking for help that they're doing it wrong. Like, whatever you think you need to do, I may tell someone, hey, there's more options than this. But I would never pretend to know what someone should do. Um, I think it's important to tell people that it's not evidence-based care, but if that's what you think will work for you and you're interested in it and you're trying to get off drugs, there's no wrong way to get off drugs. Just do it.
And we shouldn't rely on religious organizations to take care of it. There should be,
Yeah, right.
programs through the government, social programs, and everything to assist people, rather than,
They
it
should have
seems
never
like you
let.
said with court. A lot of times, court will tell you you have to go to AA, and it's like,
Well,
that's kind of a conflict there. So
whenever the American medical what is AMA, the American Medical Association, whenever they deemed that addiction was a disease, I don't care whether you agree with it or not, they've said it. They are the board that makes that decision. It is that. Factually, it's a disease. They've said so. And those people know better than me or anyone else. So if you disagree with that, challenge them, not me. Um, the American Medical Association, though, whenever they deemed addiction to be a disease, at that point, religion should no longer be allowed in that arena, I think, because it's a medical issue. And you have unlicensed people pretending to be able to cure a medical issue. So that's my opinion on it. I think that programs that are outside, since they've done that, programs that are not evidence-based care or medically based really should kind of fuck off. But but they should be replaced with programs that are, and again, AA could remain. It just needs to adapt itself to that, because you have people who are not experts, who are not medical people, trying to treat a medical condition with chance, and I think that that's wrong. But still, back to the same thing though. If it works for you, it's what's out there and available. Do whatever works. But from the standpoint of the people that, like, the courts refer people to these programs, now that it's been deemed a disease, the court should not be referring you to a non-medical based program for a disease. That's I don't know how that's even legal, actually. But
that seems like a big conflict there. But
yeah,
it's the thing though, where that was who
I'm trying
was
to
in
do.
place to do it, right? And
Yeah,
where there should be the option. Yeah.
I'm trying to put together a full length documentary about this. So you're going to find that I have some opinions and thoughts on it that are, I've looked at it, right? So I'm working on trying to do that one day when I become a famous YouTuber and I can afford it, I guess. But uh, excuse me. But yeah, the I would love to do that. I don't know if I'll ever be able to. I'm still using a built-in microphone on my webcam to talk to you, so we're a ways off from there. But the people
Well,
are
it'd be
going to
like
vary.
anything else. The other things too, homeless people. Oh, go to the church. They'll take care of you. Right. And churches do these things, but there should always be the, secular safety nets in
So,
place too, not just, oh, good luck, find, maybe a church will help you, maybe they won't, right? So
you know what
we
they do
can't
in
be.
my state? So in my state, pastors are allowed to represent themselves as counselors without a license. Um, they if you go talk to a pastor, it can be considered you going and talking to a professional, because my state has put that into law. And that's that's where those things, but there is secular
Yeah.
recovery and secular therapy and all that, and I just encourage people to look into that. I can't believe my state said that pastors are legal counselors. Like, that's crazy talk.
Well, and yeah, again, I don't have a problem with charities and the churches and everything. All they do, helping homeless people, helping hungry people. Your soup kitchens, right, and everything. The only people that seem to have a problem with that are some of these very right-leaning governments in certain areas that show up and give people tickets because they're feeding the hungry, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, there again, nobody has a problem with that. That it's great and everything, but yeah, there should be a government thing that's oversees it, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, that's the
Not
thing.
just passing it off to hoping a church does it, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing with ASAM, is like the American Society of Addiction Medicine, and there's also ASHM, which is American Society of Health. I forget how it's worded, but these groups that provide all this evidence-based care stuff, they didn't give them any teeth to enforce any of it, is the problem. They have protocols on how to run a recovery center and how to address this situation and that situation, because again, they're gathering all this information from all these places, and they're building an evidence-based care program out of it. And those protocols and stuff, though, that they've came up with, they're not allowed to enforce. So as long as the center is meeting certain criteria, they can then kind of do it however they want. And because sometimes people disagree with what works in evidence-based for, I think this is better. Like, I was in a program, Laura and I, one of the early ones we went to, she had a prescription for gabapentin, and they told her she had to stop taking it, and she did. And then she went in and tested positive for it a month later, and they kicked her out. And it's like that the protocol for it, though, says that you really shouldn't do anything, just mention it. Like, because kicking somebody out for something so simple that early in the program, they've been clean for a month, they go out and do dope, they're going to die. Like, they go out and get a big shot of fentanyl, it's over. Like, so that's why they make these things. And it's not just the really religious ones that don't embrace it. Many of the mainstream recovery places don't either, because ASAM wasn't given any authority at all. They just brought the material. So we could go on about that forever, though.
Well, I think the point you made was very clear, was when you said they just want to do whatever they want. And that's the problem there. Yeah. When the church can decide, well, I'm a medical professional, I'm a counseling professional, when they're not. Now, if they have the program to get these people degreed or hire people in to do those things, then again, then you can regulate it and everything else. But you can't do anything when this pastor's just doing something in his basement and nobody really knows and nobody's doing anything about it from an oversight perspective.
And those pastors that run the faith-based programs, they kick people out for not tucking in their shirt, not showing up for prayer, silly little things, and they're considered a health professional though, and in my state anyway, and
that's what I mean.
that's why
it's
I'm
passing the buck, right? It's passing the buck. Well, we don't have anything, so we'll just send you over to this place because that's the only place there is. And
right, and these places, they're the ones with beds, so they're like, yeah, we'll send you there.
Just send you there.
And it's you're walking into a dangerous trap. I mean, that's why I want to make the thing about it, to show how dangerous this really is.
But it doesn't solve anything either. You see them on the news all the time where they sweep homeless people out of a neighborhood, or they sweep I don't want to say the word, people that charge for adult activities. Okay. They'll sweep them out of neighborhoods, but they just go over to the other neighborhood, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, you chased them out of your neighborhood, but where do you think they went? They didn't go home, right? They're in another neighborhood now, and that's just such a waste of resources and money. First of all, just to do it, to get absolutely nowhere, but have to do it again in the next neighborhood and do it again in the next neighborhood. And then they're back to where you started again in the original neighborhood again. Yeah.
Right? If instead you would invest that money in helping those people, create programs that give them opportunities to get jobs and have housing and those things. One of the things that I find amazing, and I don't remember the country, it's in South America. I want to say it was Peru, but I'm not sure of the country. I'll have to look that back up. But they decriminalized all drugs, and the people they had a huge heroin problem. And so what they did was they built places where people could go and do their heroin, but they had to go into the program. And they could legally do drugs. Nobody was going to say anything. They gave them pharmaceutical grade heroin and clean utensils every time they went in there to do their drugs with. So they had a safe place. They were off the street. You may disagree with this, but they also had a program that provided housing and jobs and things to those people. And what they found was it's the most successful program ever, because they found that whenever they gave those people opportunities to have a place to live and a job, when they had stuff to care about and hope for, they didn't want to do drugs anymore. Most of them quit doing drugs, even though they were never told to. They just gave it up because they cared about their jobs and their homes and their families. Because whenever you give somebody in that position an opportunity, many times they'll take it. That's all they needed. People on drugs.
Yeah. Up and down the scale too. It doesn't matter what the social program is for. They always seem to work. Wherever these programs are available, you have the good numbers go up and the bad numbers go down across the board, right? These people are going to do better. They're going to go on to education, a better job, whatever it is. And then they become taxpayers, rather than what a lot of people don't understand is, just throw them in jail. You know how much it costs to have somebody in jail for a year? That money could go, and it doesn't do anything. Yeah. Meanwhile, that money could have gone a long way to help somebody out, whatever the issue is. And now you've got a member of society with a good job, and somebody with a good job probably isn't out, getting into trouble because they don't want to go to jail. They got a good job. They got a nice house and a family.
They have things to lose.
Yeah. And you're
positive
not stuck.
Reinforcement. We know that works.
And you're not stuck in that system of that loop in the system too, the revolving door thing. It never gets them anywhere either. Some of these guys and gals, they get out of jail and the next day they're getting arrested and they're right back in again because it's all they know. It's just part of their life. And it's like, no, you got to get them out of this loop that they're stuck in. For one thing.
Yes. Break the routine. That's
break the routine. Yeah.
yeah.
And like you said, who wouldn't want to have a good job in a nice house, right? It's they always say, oh, these people don't want a good job in a nice house. That's the stupidest thing I ever heard. Who doesn't want a good job in a nice house, right? It's just, but yeah, you can't expect people that are stuck in these traps to ever get up and out of it without a little help. And I don't care what they say. I don't want to, they don't want to pay for school lunches and all these things that are nothing. They're nothing out of the taxpayer's pocket, right? Fractions of a penny.
Words for that.
Yeah,
United
fractions
we
of
stand, divided we fall.
Yeah, but they don't want to give up that fraction of a penny, but got no problem paying for somebody to be in jail every year, right? Yeah. There's a big problem there where show people how much that costs and show people how much it costs for these social programs to help people and the benefit down the road. And you want to be a conservative, okay, look at the numbers, right? You're going to pay for somebody to be in jail, or like I say, worse, these people are gone because of addiction or whatever. They're never going to be a productive member of society. They're 6 feet under, like my brother. They're not paying taxes or anything, right?
Yeah.
You want taxpayers? Well, how about people that are alive? People that can get a hand up and get out of the system, get off the addiction and whatever. And again, you see, they get cleaned up and everything. And once they see reality again, you ask them, hey, you want a good job in a nice house? Yeah, I want a good job in a nice house. Who doesn't, right? It's just, exactly. Of course.
I have spent the last 10 years, almost 10 years, digging myself out of the hole that I dug for myself. And I've done it pretty much myself. I've had a lot of help from counseling and programs like that. But as far as like my functioning in the real world, I've had to do it entirely myself. And had I been given some kind of opportunity or whatever, I think I could have done well. But I am thankful to be here and for all the things that I do have. And I do, my opportunity was to use a platform like YouTube to talk about some of these difficult issues and stuff. And that's why I include this in so many of the conversations that I have, because I've been there and done it, and it's a big part of my life. And I wish that they did things like that here for people who have struggled with it. Even being clean for years. There's nothing like that. It's like, good, you're clean, see you later. Do I have any mods in chat? But the
farm is there.
Yeah. I can see them now. I forgot they're not blue anymore in StreamYard for some reason. But the fact of the matter is, though, is that whenever it comes to a medical condition, evidence-based care should be the thing that is elevated, and courts and stuff should not be referring people to those types of programs. I don't think. If you're out on the street or whatever, you've decided to go seek out a program yourself, and you do that, that's up to you. I think that's perfectly fine. But I don't think, and that's my opinion, for what it's worth. But it's is what it is, I guess. There's a long way to go in that kind of stuff.
Well, when they say we don't have money to help people in this country, it's like, you got to be kidding me. We're the most bestest country in the world, right? We brag about it all the time, right? There's no reason that we can't spend these fractions of a penny to take care of these social issues. And it would be, it's great for everybody. In the end, it's good all the way across the board. And it's cheaper. So
Yeah.
It's win-win. It's just a bad argument, and especially when we have the means to do it.
I don't know, or IDK, however you want to say it, I guess. Same thing. I'm starting to think that universal health care, including mental health, would pay for itself in recovering lost lives and time. It's also moral, and then continue to say there shouldn't be an economic barrier to good health. Yeah. There's like this argument that, oh, well, you should eat better and you should do these things, and you're responsible for that, and we shouldn't be paying taxes to help people. And it's like, yeah, but it's unfortunate that those people are in that position for whatever reason, but you don't know all the details of that. So like saying something like that's kind of silly in my opinion. Once it becomes a medical issue, we should do everything we can to care for that person and bring them back to good health, no matter what the issue is. I mean, that's how medicine works. That's the oath the doctors take. I hate when people say that stuff because it's the most ridiculous thing. And
that's politics getting into medicine where it doesn't belong. Yeah. Same thing with so many other issues in medicine where the politics doesn't belong.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Universal health care would pay for itself almost immediately.
Yeah. But
once we get the pharmacies and some of these other folks, I'm not going to go into it, but once we get some of these other entities out of the way, so that medicine is the focus rather than making doctors millionaires or letting pharmacies charge whatever they want for a medicine here that they charge a nickel for somewhere else. Like until we get a hold on those things, it's a mess. And universal health care would solve all those problems, because then once it's a government-based program, they wouldn't allow all that, and they would fix all those things. The fact that people are suffering and dying because they can't afford insulin, or they can't afford some medicine they need, when you see that, and this is the United States, where you wouldn't think we're doing that to people, like you wouldn't immediately think that. And for the religious folks out there, though, even Jesus says it's how you treat the least of us. Like a country is judged on how it treats its poor and homeless and drug addicted, the people that are struggling, those folks. That's what you're judged by, and that's what, if you build up those people that are struggling and make them effective members of society, there's no downside to that.
Nope.
The Statue of Liberty clearly says, "Bring me your sick, your tired, your huddled masses." That's because we wanted to care for those people and prop them up with what was the American dream at that time. But we take care of those people and make them productive members of society is better for everyone. I really don't care how you view it. That's common sense, I think. But unfortunately,
that's the problem. The common sense is lacking.
Yeah.
When you can argue against a win-win situation, there's a problem there, Yeah. Oh yeah, that sounds great now, and everything would be great. The country would be great. The whole world would be great. But I don't know if I want to spend a penny out of my paycheck for that. It's like, what are you talking about? You're going to buy a $7 coffee, but you're not going to give up a couple pennies to make the country and maybe the world better. It's just I just don't understand, and especially from the conservative point of view, that they don't want to let go of anything, but they got no problem at the same time paying interest on something that we didn't get anything for, where that money could have spent on. So at least we would have got something for it. Yeah. But we got no problem wasting money and paying interest on it, rather than things that are proven to work, that it's all W's, and you got politicians and voters going, gee, I don't know, that just sounds too good, you know. And I don't know. I don't know if I want things to be all that great, you know. What are you talking about?
Let's switch subjects. And before we do, though, now that we're into the show and everything, Dave has the channel Captive Desk. Does the show Saturday night at the Atheist, which is growing and been a lot of fun. Also has the Grassman Chronicles. Talks about cryptids of all different types and the history and the lore and everything concerning those. A really great growing channel. Dave has been a great member of this community. I've worked with Dave a number of times. So please go over and subscribe to the Captive Desk. It's linked at the top of the chat. It's also linked in the title of this video even. So please go over and subscribe to Dave's channel. Also, before we go down this home stretch here, the last 20-30 minutes here, again, thank you to all my channel members and Patreon supporters. You guys help out tremendously. If you're new to this channel, please just hit the like and subscribe button. We do offer memberships starting at 99 cents, and I do member streams every week. So if you're interested in that, join. But if not, that's cool too. Like and subscribe. You can undo it later if you're not happy with it, which people do all the time. And that's okay. You're welcome to come. The idea here is to engage in difficult conversations with both theists and atheists alike. But those conversations need to be honest conversations. Leave your arguments at home. If you want to come talk to me about something, I'm willing to talk to anybody. You can reach me at the Kentucky Atheist at Gmail. All my social media accounts will be in the chat in just a second. And reach out to me. I'm always willing to talk to anybody. All right. So, Dave, there's the links. You do the Grassman Chronicles, and you also do your channel Captive Desk. And the Grassman Chronicles also airs on your channel now. What got you interested in cryptids?
I've always been interested in a wide variety of things as far back as I can remember. Yeah. Watching TV shows like In Search Of always piqued my curiosity into a lot of things, and they would cover cryptids and stuff too. Yeah. And in this country, Bigfoot is very popular. It's kind of our national cryptid, so to speak. Ohio has a big community, I guess, of people that have seen Bigfoot. So it's part of the culture. And along with it, ghost stories, monster stories, ancient alien stories, and all the things that have come through, pyramid power, of course, religions, so many different things, and anything that I was always interested in it.
I've always liked those things too. And
then as far as the Bigfoot thing, all really got going when I was using it as a pre-sup argument. But then the more I used it, the more people would ask me about Bigfoot and stuff. So the more I looked into Bigfoots and the more I looked into other cryptids. So the whole hobby of the cryptids grew because I kept saying Bigfoot. So I had to know something about Bigfoot when people asked, Yeah. So yeah, it's grown and grown. And then, running into people like Bree at Hive Sci and Nikki and at Sasquatch Secrets, I believe. There's a bunch of other fun folks out there, and being on their channels and talking about it and exploring new things. And then I've got Big Bad Mama out there that just gave me a tip on another cryptid to look at. And I've covered stories before that people have given me ideas for. So that's cool too. Have you heard about this? I said, no, I haven't heard about that. So I'd do a video on it and find out that, a lot of people like these things, whether you take it serious or not. A lot of them are fun. And at, Halloween time, some of them are good for scary, spooky stories and stuff,
Yeah, I think you should definitely. I think you should definitely embrace the voice when you're doing it. This is the story of Bigfoot. You use that deep
Get in
voice
close to
and
the
get a little
microphone.
drama. Yeah, get your audacity settings to give you that voice. BS is missing an excellent opportunity to have you be the voice of God for his animations. That would be excellent too.
I BS did put a captive desk in one of his videos. That was really cool.
Yeah.
I did play God with Deconverted Man. I did voice God with Deconverted Man, and my Deli Knox video that I was just talking about because somebody left me a nice comment about it. At the beginning of that, I used voice mod where this is the captive desk in hell, right? And so I did crank it up so it kind of had that spooky sound going to it.
Yeah. You with the cryptids, you could definitely and then you could even label your videos as ASMR too. Like you could get that voice involved.
Those again, though, I try to discuss them in a fair way, right? I talk
you could
about
do that too. I mean,
Yeah, I talk about the claims, and then I talk about what it could be and what I think it could be. So I try to give the range because a lot of people ask, "Do I believe in these things?" And I say I'm exploring these things. So I try to be fair, like a journalist should be, right? You should say, well, this is what this person says. This is what the biology expert or military expert says. And this is what I think about it. Or if we have other people on like Joe, when we did the Mothman, what does Joe think about the Mothman, right? When I was doing,
I actually know a little bit about it.
Yeah, when Trees and I were doing some episodes together, what does Trees think it is, right? So you bounce it off each other too.
When Jess came and visited me, she came all the way from Canada to visit me here in Eastern Kentucky, which was really awesome. But everybody that came and visited, Trees was one of them too. She went to the Mothman statue and went and seen it there in Point Pleasant. They went out there and looked at it. But go to Hillbilly Hot Dogs while you're out there, folks. That is the place to go. If you're going to go see the Mothman statue, go to Hillbilly Hot Dogs. It is a one-of-a-kind experience. You will love it. The food's great, too. But, so, I love some of the...
And I like having fun with the stuff, too, right?
Of course.
I'm not taking it... I'm not a believer in these things. But at the same time, I'm not trying to insult anybody, make it personal. Like we said, it's not a personal thing unless we know somebody's, grifting somebody or something like that. Yeah. I had Stephanie on talking about her Dogman sighting, right? We had a great talk. Stephanie was a great guest. And, she saw something in her backyard. Okay. What am I going to tell her she didn't see something in her backyard? No. But I asked the questions like, what are the lighting conditions, right? Were you sober at the time? Do you wear glasses? All those kind of questions. And, she answered the questions fairly. And, you decide for yourself, what did she see, right? So there you go. And at the same time, we had a nice conversation. Some of Stephanie over at Missing Mod. You can talk to her even though she's a believer, and that's nice. A lot of folks you just can't, and
and that's the thing. Like, there's a difference.
We need to talk more.
Some people you can sit down and have an interesting conversation about a subject, and we don't have to sit and argue about things and whatever. I know that sometimes those conversations are difficult and stuff, but like we're not enemies. Like let's talk about things, and you can better understand me and I can better understand you. And maybe we can work together and make the world a better place. You know, like you can keep on believing, you know, whatever. I don't give a shit what you believe. I care less. It's your actions. And as always, I have to reference the wonderful Stephanie Helms for that. It's not what you believe; it's what you do.
And I find a great bridge between a lot of folks is music, because even though we disagreed with Mr. Peace a whole lot there, he was doing some karaoke of a Rush tune, right? And it's like, hey, all right, you know. And some of the other ones I've heard, you know, they like this band or that band, and it's like, see, even though we can be so different on so many things, we could also at the same time crank up some tunes and have a good time together, right? So if you can do that, then there's no reason that we can't be civil the rest of the time, even though we disagree about other things. Because there's so many things that are common ground with music and art and movies and all these kind of things that we can all appreciate these things in the same world, in the same universe. So maybe there's a little more, you know, common to all of us than having to believe in a God.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
I know the precepts will tell you that without God, you can't have any of those things, but we disagree because we think we can have all these things, and that includes everybody, believers and non-believers. So, you can have it all, you can love it all, you can be in awe of it all, and then adding God to it doesn't seem to do anything. So, get out there and smell the flowers and appreciate the flowers just for being the flowers, and don't get ugly about it. Even if you believe it's a God, don't get ugly about it. It's like, God made this. Okay, well, I think biology did it. And either way, isn't that a beautiful flower? It sure is. Do you love the aroma? Man, that's got a great aroma. And it's hardy too. And, you know, you can put this in your garden and, you know, and on. You can have a nice little discussion about flowers, even though we disagree where they came from. Who doesn't love flowers? Well, unless you got allergies, I guess. But from a distance, maybe you still appreciate them, right? But I can go in, and I've had this because a lot of, you know, my discussions about my pond or my garden, right? And a lot of the believers out there will say, we'll have a little back and forth on something, maybe a religious topic, a social issue. And then we'll say, hey, how's your garden doing? Oh, I'm doing real good. How's yours doing? Real good. I'm doing this and that. I just did this, whatever, on and on and on. And, see, we all do the same things. We all enjoy the same things. And that goes a long way to cutting down the tribalism, you know, that so many people have between different groups. When you can see, hey, we all like the same things. We even like the same music. We like the same food. And you live around around the country or around the globe, see all this common ground we have. So, okay, you got a different religion. Is it really that big a deal? Well, in your mind, it may be, but in the global scheme of things, again, you're not a majority. You got to work with other religions too. So we need more talking and less fighting. See Randy.
Sorry,
how you doing, Randy? And you know, as we were just saying, we have our discussions on Saturdays, and we've got different opinions on things. One thing that bothers me is when everybody sits around and just nods and agrees and says, "Oh yeah, 100%, 100%." It's really like, really, 100%? You don't disagree just a little bit, right? Don't be afraid to say you disagree. It's not an issue. We don't have to all agree. You do not have to be the united front like the theists are, where it's all word for word. You have to agree on everything. I think that's ridiculous, because it's been proven out with, you go to different churches, different denominations, it's different. It's not all in lockstep like they think it is. So if you're a believer, talk about the things that you disagree about. Don't be afraid to say it. And if you're a non-believer, you can disagree too. That's good. I disagree with my wife. I love my wife dearly. We've been together for a long time. We disagree. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. Well, with that, I guess, let's get out of here. Go ahead and we'll wrap it up with you telling everybody where to find you and what you talk about and all that. I know we kind of just did that, but tell them where you're at and all that. We're just
chit-chatting. Well, and Joe and I wanted to say, Joe and I are like mind, and a lot of us are in the community, that we want to reach out. We want to have discussions, and we don't need to be preached to. We know what the Bible says. We want to hear what you have to say. We just want to have some nice discussions, try to get to know each other a little better, and just make the world a better place. And when you come to the captive desk, you never know what you're going to get. I do cover religious things. I also cover other topics, science topics, and I venture into my cryptids and ghosts and aliens that branches into the Grassman Chronicles, because I like looking at all different kinds of things. I don't cover just one topic on my channel. And if you're into gardening and ponds like I am, you can always check out my Dave page where I've got my pond stuff up there. And you want to talk about ponds? We can talk about ponds too. I love talking about ponds.
Yeah.
And I enjoy going on other channels like this. Like Joe said, we've done a lot of stuff back and forth on each other's channels, and we've chit-chatted and everything else. We talk offline. All the friendships we make amongst the community, as Joe mentioned, everybody's always quick to help each other out. It's always appreciated. The mods are always appreciated. And subscribe at my channel. Join in the discussions on Saturday. Everybody's welcome. And thanks for having me on, Joe. It's always good being on with you.
Yeah, no, Dave. I love what you do, and I love coming over and joining in the conversation on your channel, and I'm glad to have you over here on mine. Dave is got a quick growing channel, and things are going really good over there. If you haven't checked out his channel or seen the Saturday night from the Atheist, Saturday night at the Atheist conversations, you should definitely go check those out. Big shout out to everybody watching over on X. Hey guys, thanks for watching. I know you can't comment and stuff. If you're interested, you can come over here and subscribe to the YouTube channel at the Kentucky Atheists. If you're here on YouTube watching, you can also find me on all the social media accounts. I have a Discord. I have a TikTok now. I have an Instagram. I have X. I'm over on Twitch streaming.
Joe's everywhere.
X also, go follow me in all those places. If you, I post stuff in all those places for everybody, and every place gets little things that the other ones don't. I try to anyway, just to give that variety of things. My Patreon, you guys are getting ready to get a bunch of good stuff though. That story's gonna be good. I'm working on laying it out and the brainstorming part of it. So that's the other place. I'm over on Patreon. That starts at $5. Go there if you want to hear more stories of my ordeal with addiction and religion and everything, and get your name put in the book, and the real book this time, and possibly my Patreon supporters that get in here at the beginning, I'll give them a free copy of it for helping out. So we got an emergency. Sumami is losing her mind. What's up, Sumami? We'll address this real quick and we'll get out of here.
Coming to gather, it says.
You best not be pissed at me coming in here with that shit. Oh, okay. I see. I got you. All right. Well, I hope everything's okay, Swami. I hope that Crystal comes over there to Gather and talks to you. That's another thing. Go find us on Gather. We have a big group over there that hangs out. But all right, let's find the button here. That's all I got for you guys. Thanks for coming, Dave. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks to everybody. Have a great day.